where we are?
We're at the gym.
We are at the gym. What gym is this? What do I call it?
The youth center?
No, it's not the youth center. Well, but it's the 10th Planet. We usually go to 10th Planet Youth Center, which is in Whittier. But today we came to headquarters. I pulled Jake out of school so we can go to headquarters. Man, thanks for coming. This is Jon Michael Holland. You go
What
by
up?
JM?
JM works. JM works.
All right, cool, man. It was.
Is that really loud, bud? Sorry.
He's actually not even plugged in.
Oh.
Hello.
Yeah, that's little Jake. He came and he was good, man. He stayed the whole practice and he was quiet. He played with the
Crushed
toys.
it. You killed it.
Yeah,
you killed it today, bud.
I think Eddie took a couple pictures of you. But the first time I met Jon, I almost didn't even come down to your place just because long things. I was supposed to be working on unlocking the cage, which was supposed to be all about MMA.
Right.
And I even cut short my meeting with Andy Main.
Yeah.
And he was already in, I think, on The Ultimate Fighter and Experience.
Yeah,
and
King of Pancrase.
Yeah, so we had, I had a good conversation with him. I was like, no, I'm not missing 10th Planet, Bethlehem, Finishers MMA. But in my head, I was like, it's going to be a small little place. Why am I really going? I was like, I don't know how much fighting experience these guys have. But what was awesome, first night I got in, you and Zach introduced me. Well, you had me watching Grace Gundrum.
Right.
And you guys are both like, that girl's going to be a champion. And I'm looking at her like, no way, this shy little girl.
She's
and
a savage.
That was 3 years ago. And so it's been awesome watching her just dominate.
Yeah. She's been working really hard. The whole team's been working incredibly hard, dude. We've been really hungry, man. And I think the last time you interviewed me, I was like, I haven't even won NAGA. And I'm about to be an EBI, so that's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like that video you shot of me, like you're like, well, what are your, I gave you a little background, and you asked me like kind of, what are your plans? And I was like, I want to win NAGA, I want to win Grappler's Quest, I want to do Abu Dhabi trials. I did all those things, and now I'm like I'm doing more than that stuff. So it's cool looking back, man. Like we've come a long way, and I draw inspiration from Grace, from Zach, from Thor. From the other competitors and stuff, because it's just like we all push each other, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like doing this is for, I wouldn't be here without my team for sure. It's a great squad we have out in Bethlehem, man.
No, you guys seriously impressed me. The whole team overall, but then you and Zach, just your attitude and how hungry you were, and because you guys had to prove something. You're the only one out there, and I think at the time when you guys started the school, were you blue belts or were you purple?
Yeah, we were blues.
Okay, yeah, so that's pretty crazy. Like, I'm starting to do help out at 10th Planet Youth Center Whittier and helping teach a class, and I just got my purple, and I feel like, man, I shouldn't be even
step.
teaching. That's how I feel. It's like,
I know, but that's the next layer for you. Like, people want to wait till black belt to start teaching. That's a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
That's a mistake. You're not going to get good till you start teaching. I think teaching makes you better because it's really going to make you think, and if you want to be good at teaching, you're going to get better.
Mm-hmm.
Like you shouldn't be just good at rolling and competing. You want to be good at teaching too, because that's going to make you analyze and understand what you're trying to do. You have to think about it. You have to reverse engineer. You have to break it down and go through it. And what's the guy on? Not only you got to teach people how to do things to people, you got to teach the person getting it done to them how to react correctly.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the biggest struggles I have is getting people to understand that I understand we're doing a move and you want to stuff it, you don't want me to do it, but this isn't how you want to react this way in this situation. That's a big part. So, and teaching is huge. So just teach, man. Just teach what you know. You're going to teach what you know, and that's how you get a purple belt level at a move to like a black belt level at a move. Like, you're going to help. Like, if you get other people good at your shit, you're going to get your shit way better. You know what I mean? And
one of the things I'm doing is just watching a hell of a lot more video. I like watching your guys' video. That's where I'll get some of the stuff that I want to try to teach, because I was like, no, I was like, this is cool. I was like, I'm going to work on my stuff. But then I was like, okay, now I get to try a new move too. I was like, now I have to watch it really closely in order to get it done. Yeah. But no, and that's what I like. I like you guys, like the way you guys explain everything. So yeah,
thanks, man.
That's
my first job, my first ever job was a martial arts instructor. Like, I was 14. I did private lessons for my original instructor. And I did get kids ready. Like, I teach them how to punch, how to kick, get them ready for their black belt test and shit like that. That was my first job, teaching martial arts. So it's something I've always known how to do. So, but yeah, don't think you can't teach. Like, anyone can teach anybody, especially you're taking it super serious. That's how you come. That's your come up. You know what I mean? someone just said to me the other night, like, you know, someone told me that I shouldn't open my school till black belt. I'm like, dude, like, you know, me being a guy that a lot of guys open their school at blue belt and start like that, and I couldn't, you know, my students, dude, they believe in me so much, I feel it. They, you know, I get, like I said, I get strength from them. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not, they seen it. They seen everything from the beginning. So, you know, it's awesome, man. It's awesome. Teach the shit out of the jiu-jitsu.
That's cool. Yeah, no, I'm enjoying it, man. We actually pay a babysitter to come watch our kids, so my wife and I can go do jiu-jitsu at night together. Yeah. So that's been nice that she's been training. Now, I want to talk about this upcoming event, because when you and I did our interview, part of it was why you decided to no longer compete in MMA. And if I remember, it was a big part of it was just you understood that these guys are extreme athletes now. They're training their ass off, that have to go through these hardcore camps. It's no longer like when we were trying to fight where you can just take a fight.
Right.
Now you actually have to, I mean, you have to have a full camp and you have to be dedicated to it. Now, have you thought any more about regular MMA? And is this Combat JiuJitsu? Is this like a step? Like,
I don't plan ever to do MMA, man. Like that, I did that. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm good at, you know, my game is very specific. It has a, you know, when Eddie asked me to do this, he didn't ask me to do it for no reason. He knows how I roll. He knows how I play, and you know, it's a game that's meant for when people hit you.
Yeah.
So, you know, naturally I said yes. It's different. I'm not taking an MMA fight to make $500, and I'm gonna be like, I'm getting paid to be an EBI, but I'm also like I get to be an EBI. You know what I mean? Like, I was a spot short. I fell short in the qualifier. I was one spot short of being in the last EBI at 135. So, you know, I'm right. And Ricky did great in EBI. Ricky Lowell, he's a beast. He's fighting tough dudes. He just fought in Fight to Win Pro. He's killing it out here. So I had a tough fight with him, and he did great in EBI. So I know I belong here. And, you know, this was just a little path that got carved out for me.
And how much more does this mean to you, too? I mean, because at one point, dude, like, I really liked MMA. I wanted to fight. I was like, but now the thought of hold on. The thought of being in an EBI, like, dude, I'm 44, but I was like, fuck. I was like, maybe he'll have an old man division. Right. And then when I heard about Combat JiuJitsu, I was like, that would be fun.
Yeah.
But now, tell everyone what Combat JiuJitsu is, because he had, how many did he have before? Like, did he have one or two, like, a long time ago?
He did it back in the day in a cage. Mm-hmm. The commission wanted it in a cage, and which changes a lot. And you could strike standing, but only to the body.
Okay.
You could kick and punch to the body, and when it got to the ground, it went pro. This is just all ground.
Okay.
It's on a mat. It's a palm strikes to the body and head, to the legs, wherever. And it's gonna be interesting because, you know, do you open up and try to knock me out, or do you play conservative and try to pass my guard? You know, so. We might be seeing more jiu-jitsu than we're thinking, but we also, I mean, it depends on the style of guy I'm fighting.
Do you know if most of the competitors have MMA experience, or are they mainly...
Everyone in the tournament has MMA experience.
Okay.
The 3 guys I'm fighting are all black belts. I'm the only brown belt in the tournament. You know, they're all beasts. They're all wrestlers, monsters, you know, not really, kind of opposite of me. So, you know, it's going to be tough. I know it's going to be really hard, but I know, you know, I know I have what it takes. I know my game is. I'll find a way. You know what I mean? I haven't just been wasting my time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've been getting better.
Faith in yourself and faith in the system too. I
100% believe in what Eddie's doing.
Yeah.
And I couldn't be doing this any other way. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't. You know, none of us would be here without Eddie, obviously, and yeah, I totally trust him, you know. So when he asked me to do this, I didn't hesitate for a second.
Yeah, that's awesome. I tell everyone, I was like, yeah, man. I was like, went to all these gyms, got to roll to all these places, and that's with me not really knowing anything. But when I got to 10th Planet, I was like, oh, I see how this applies to MMA, because I was very much interested in MMA, and so I wanted to train jiu-jitsu that was going to be good for MMA, and that's why I was like, yeah, I think it's perfect for Combat JiuJitsu.
Yeah.
And so I can't wait to see it.
You know, and not a lot of people even play it. Like, not even a lot of people play the old 10th Planet game. It's tough. You know, it's a different game than a lot of people play, and, you know, I've been seeing some success with it lately, and I've beaten some good dudes. You know, so maybe I can pull something off. Maybe I get knocked out. Maybe guy's too strong, guy pulls out. I mean, dude, I've seen it. I've seen that before, though. You know, I've been running a school. You know, I weigh 140 pounds. You think I don't got tough wrestlers coming in? You know, I know what I'm getting into. I'm scared. You know, I'm nervous. This would mean, dude, pulling this off. Bro, I might cry if I win. It'd be fucking insane.
Dude, that's awesome, man. And I think that's cool.
I would never imagine me being like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm really, like, now everyone's like, yeah, you're really good. Like, I'm not good. Like, yeah, I don't think.
Well, you are.
I'm good, but you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you starting out, you never think like, I'm gonna be like a good grappler that could hold it down in an EBI. But you know what? You just stayed the path. Like, we didn't have to do what we did. We didn't have to prove ourselves to anybody, but we felt, you know, we could do it.
Yeah.
You know? So we did it, you know? And I have a lot of help, man. I have a lot of help.
Now,
you know?
How long have you been out here? And is this being able to have a little bit of a camp out here? Is that a huge help? I mean, but you have strong guys to train with.
I'm ready. I'm ready now. I came out here early to cut the weight, get relaxed out here, settle in, and be ready to go. I didn't come out here to get ready. I've been ready. You know, I've been training for the last like 3-4 months for this, hard. You know, and I'm ready to get it done. I'm ready to go do it. You know, this is just to sharpen up, the polish up. You know, you ain't gonna get better in you're gonna get better in 2 weeks, but you're the same guy you were before I left. So I didn't come out thinking like I'm gonna get ready.
Yeah.
I just knew I had the ability to come out for 2 weeks, and if there was ever a time to come out and spend some time with Eddie, now would be the time, you know. So I'm gonna jump on it. I don't get to train with Eddie as often as I'd like, so you know, if I have an opportunity to do it, I try to seize it.
Do you know whether or not he will be in your corner or whether or not he's coaching? Like,
he'll be. I'm pretty sure he'll be coaching me. John McCarthy and Mike Beltran are reffing.
Oh, dope.
So that's sick. You know, Eddie's gonna be in my corner. I got Zach in my corner. You know, and at the end of the day, dude, it's you know, it's my game. I know, like, me and Eddie's games are very similar. Like, I trust Eddie, and I listen to everything Eddie says. So, you know, and that's my style. Like, people will be like, man, you look just like Eddie when you fought like that. So, you know, it's good that I'm like that, because then we can kind of be on the same wavelength. But at the end of the day, it's just a matter of what the guy gives me. You know, I need. That's what's scary. You don't know what's going to happen, but it's just all about, you know, can I get to my spots, and, you know, can I do what I know I can do under pressure? So.
Do you see, don't want to give anything away if any of your competitors are listening, but do you see strikes being a major part of your game, or not as much?
No.
Yeah.
It's gonna be, it's all dependent, man. If I can get on top of a dude, of course.
Finish him.
Of course I'm going to finish him. You know what I mean? That's harder than it, you know, you're not just going to be, like, some dude's just not going to let you hit him. You know what I mean? So, and they're all black belts in jiu-jitsu. So you leave a hand somewhere you shouldn't leave a hand, you're going to get wrapped up. So it's going to be interesting to see how aggressive guys come out. Guys can come out real aggressive. Guys can come out very slow. So,
and with your experience, I mean, was that ever an issue for you, hurting your opponent, like in a fight? I mean, your job is to submit them or to make
hurt anybody. You know what I mean? Like, guys get hurt. I got hurt. You know, dudes are gonna hurt each other. This is EBI. It's not. You know, this is something that a lot of people want. So, you know, and if it came down to it, I won't hesitate for a second. You know what I mean?
Oh, awesome, man. Well, we just finished up practice. I know you probably got to get at least some food in you and everything. I got to get this dude home.
Yeah, I'm cutting weight and shit, so that's fun.
Yeah, no, that's miserable. I end every episode with a short story from the book I just gave you, Twisted Reunion. Don't even know what it's gonna be, but hopefully I'll pick a good one. And but yeah, man, thanks for coming. We're gonna go watch. I'll probably bring my daughter. She might not like watching the punches, but she loves training and loves watching.
Just tell her I might look like I'm getting my ass kicked at first.
Yeah, it might take a little damage.
I might look like I'm taking the beating, but I'll be all right. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. Thank you for having me on. Shout out to my friends home, my family back home, all my training partners at HQ here and all over the country and all over the world at 10th Planet. Yeah, man, I'm going to rep to my best ability for sure.
That's cool, man. Congrats on everything. It's been amazing seeing what you guys have done. Yeah, I'm glad I got to see it, man.
Yeah, Mark, I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Woodshop After Math.
It was Friday, Sam's birthday, and he had to see her before school let out. Then he had to get to his appointment with Dr. Heckham. Sam's present in one hand, his math book in the other, Tyler moved through the stream of students pouring out of their classrooms. He snaked past 2 football players punching each other in the arm, then a group of goth kids passing a vape pen. Tyler focused straight ahead. He wasn't in the mood to see their stares, to hear their mumbles, and call him freak. He'd only started school 1 month before, but that's not why they talked about him. The hallway branched, right to the administration building and his appointment, left to Sam's locker. Dr. Heckham's warning not to be late echoed in Tyler's head. He turned left, hoped Sam would be there so he'd make it to his appointment on time. Sam, of course, wasn't there. She was never on time. Tyler set her present on a small desk in the hallway and wiped his sweaty hand on his shirt. What could he say that wasn't lame? Happy birthday. How's your birthday going? Did you get any cool presents? Here you go. Here's a present I made for you in Woodshop. I spent the last 2 weeks making it. Look what a dork I am. Do you know how pretty you are? Do you still like me? A few kids ran down the hall and a crowd formed outside the bathrooms. Someone shouted. Tyler picked up Sam's present and found himself at the back of a crowd when he heard a girl plead, "Stop it!" It was Sam. Tyler pushed his way into the middle of the throng. Bradley, a pompous prick, who would have been in 10th grade if he wasn't so stupid, stood over Sam, who was on her knees trying to retrieve a pink bakery box from the ground. Every time she went to grab the box, Bradley nudged it out of her reach with his boot.
Her fair skin flushed red, and Tyler felt the hair on his arms rising when she told Bradley to leave her alone.
Bradley kicked the pink box against the wall. Tyler surprised himself when he said, "Back off, Bradley." Sam and Bradley both looked toward Tyler. Then Bradley grabbed her hair, turned her head, and pumped his groin at her face. Sam swatted at his arm and flailed to get away, but Bradley wouldn't let her go. "Bradley, I'm not kidding," Tyler said, trying to keep his voice from cracking. Bradley talked so loudly everyone in the hall could hear. "What are you going to do about it, psycho?" "Yeah," Hector chimed in from behind Bradley, his raised middle fingers a clear indication of what he thought about Tyler. "What are you going to do about it? Pull a Newtown?" Kent, their little dork follower, stood next to Hector, grinning his idiot grin, then twisting his face into his rendition of a psychopath. "No, man, this guy's all Virginia Tech. He's like the Energizer Bunny. He'll just keep going and going and going." 3-on-1 with a whole bunch of kids to watch him get his ass kicked. But Tyler wasn't walking away from the only girl who'd ever stood up for him. A locker slammed shut at the far end of the hall and Hector jumped. Tyler dropped Sam's present and his book. It didn't matter if he was smaller than them. It didn't matter that he was all by himself. Bradley chuckled, kept Sam down with his hand on her shoulder. Are you serious? Check this loser out," Tyler said. "Let her be." Bradley stared down at Sam's chest. She's a big girl. She can take care of herself." "I'm not telling you again." Bradley let go of Sam and took a step toward Tyler. Or what? What are you going to do, you little psycho?" Bradley stuck out his chest, what they called puffing in juvie. Kids did that when they were scared deep down, and they were usually the ones who got their butts kicked. That's what Tyler tried to tell himself as he looked up at Bradley. Pretending he was someone else, someone stronger and more confident, Tyler said, "I'm not scared of you or your little buddies." Oohs and ahs came from the crowd. Before Bradley could respond, Tyler took a step toward him. "Donnie was a lot bigger than you are," Tyler said, his voice flat and dead. No one said a word. Bradley looked like he wanted to say something but kept his mouth shut. A teacher that Tyler hadn't seen before came out of a classroom and yelled for them to break it up before she called the principal. Tyler couldn't help but notice she focused on him the whole time. Even teachers he didn't know had heard of him. They were convinced he was the monster the papers made him out to be. Tyler turned back to Bradley, but the punk and his friends were walking away, heads held high as if they hadn't just chickened out. If Bradley really wanted to fight, he would have done it in front of the teacher. In juvie, Tyler had witnessed one kid jump another one right in front of an officer, stabbing that kid's neck with the sharpened end of his plastic fork 1, 2, 3, 4 times before the officer pulled him off. The rest of the crowd dispersed while Tyler helped Sam off the ground. She thanked him, but didn't need to. The way she looked at him was enough to make him take on a dozen guys. She was the one person who didn't believe he was a monster, who knew he was innocent, who believed he wouldn't want to hurt anyone for any reason. She knew that Tyler, prior to his juvenile hall stint, wouldn't ever do something so vicious. But that kid had been forgotten by everyone else. They only saw the Tyler who had spent the last 3 years locked up. He looked different. Maybe he was different. He learned that sometimes people needed to be hurt. Sam picked up the mangled pink box. It was filled with brightly decorated cupcakes, most of which were squished, their frosting splattered on the dirty tile. "You shouldn't have done that," she said. Tyler tried not to stare at her low-rise jeans as she stood. "I'm glad to see you, too." She swiped her hair from her eyes and said, "Sorry. I'm just surprised to see you." She kicked her locker closed. "Don't you have your appointment today?" Tyler wasn't listening. He scoured the floor for his present, spotted it by a row of lockers. Luckily, it hadn't met the fate of the cupcake box. He picked it up, gripped the wooden cylinder, not sure if he should give it to her. Sam repeated, "Don't you have your appointment?" "Well, yeah, but I was passing by and thought I'd see you." Sam motioned toward his math book. "You passed admin on the way from pre-algebra." "What can I say? I'm still new here." Tyler forced an awkward laugh. "Haven't got the place figured out yet." "You should get going. The bell's going to ring any minute and you can't be late." "Then we better hurry." Tyler grabbed her hand. "I'm walking you to class." Sam hesitated before following. "You can't walk me down the hall. I don't want you to ever get in trouble because of me again." Tyler almost said that he would do anything for her, that she was worth it. "What's that?" she asked, indicating her present. He almost offered it to her and wished her a happy birthday, but he saw the clock. Less than 2 minutes. Sam told him to just go. Tyler began to pull her in the opposite direction. "Woodshop's over here. I said I'd walk you to class." Sam complained, but not too much, and hurried with Tyler to the lone building outside the double doors, where the loud noises wouldn't disrupt the other classes. At the door, Sam looked down at her mangled box of cupcakes. "These are ruined. I worked so hard on them," she said. "You made your own cupcakes for your birthday?" Her look said she was surprised he remembered. Tyler said, "I thought you hated Jenkins. Why take the cupcakes to Woodshop?" "I need all the brownie points I can get. Jenkins hates me, especially when I don't wear a skirt he can look up." Tyler changed the subject, worried he wouldn't be able to talk if he thought about her smooth thighs peeking out from under a skirt. "You do just as well as any of the boys in there. You'll find out that doesn't always matter. You'll find out that doesn't always matter." Unable to think of anything clever to say, Tyler simply said, "Well, that sucks." The bell was going to ring any second, but Tyler didn't care. He tried to remember if Sam had always been so beautiful, if she'd always been so quiet. He wondered if her dad still drank too much, if things had gotten any better at home. 15 feet from the door, the bell sounded, signaling the start of 7th period. Tyler opened the door and held it for her. "Will you just go?" Sam begged. "I really don't want to see you get in any trouble." Tyler nodded, started jogging backwards. "I have a present for you. I'll give it to you after school." She smiled before she turned to head inside. Mr. Jenkins, with his creepy mustache and safety goggles, ushered her in. Someone inside the class whistled. It was Bradley, who was sitting at the table closest to the door. The prick patted the empty chair next to him, telling Sam he had another place for her to sit if she didn't want to sit there. Tyler headed back, didn't care that Mr. Jenkins was in the middle of roll call. He pushed open the door all the way. "Excuse me?" Mr. Jenkins said, clearly pissed. "Go take your Ritalin or whatever it is they give nutjobs like you," Bradley said. Hector and Kent laughed. Mr. Jenkins snorted. Tyler didn't waste any words, just headed straight for Bradley. The look of surprise on Bradley's face was priceless as he pushed back the chair, struggling to get to his feet. If Tyler had been any quicker, and if Sam hadn't yelled at Tyler not to do anything stupid, Tyler would have embarrassed Bradley in front of the entire class. But Mr. Jenkins was quick. He blocked Tyler's path, a 2x4 in his right hand, his left hand extended like a crossing guard. "Don't you have somewhere to go?" "Yeah, go to see your shrink," Bradley pointed at Tyler. "You and I will talk after school." Tyler imagined how good it would feel to rip the wood out of Mr. Jenkins' hand and bash Bradley's face. "Ignore him," Sam said. "I can take care of myself." Without looking at her, Bradley, Hector, Kent, or any of the other assholes laughing at him, Tyler spun around and headed for the administration building. He was late. His heart was pounding. He took deep breaths and practiced Heckham's positive thinking drills, told himself that Bradley wouldn't really try to fight him after school, that the punk would end up chickening out. He tried to forget about Mr. Jenkins threatening him with the lumber, and he concentrated on the smile Sam gave him when he told her about the present. Tyler pulled out the wooden cylinder he'd only finished the night before. He hoped Sam would notice the effort he put into the picture-perfect alignment of the bracelet she'd given him back when he was in the detention facility. Sam and Tyler, best friends forever, the bracelet said. He wondered if she knew how happy he had been to get it from his mom when she visited him. He wondered if she knew that bracelet was what got him through so many lonely, scary, miserable nights. Maybe someday she could be more than just a friend. Tyler entered the office, nodded at the secretary, and headed to the last door on the left. He stopped in his tracks when he saw that his mom sat across from the stuffy old Heckham. "What are you doing here?" he asked. This couldn't be good. "Your mother is here because I asked her to come in." Heckham folded his wrinkled hands. "The real question is, why are you late?" "I forgot I had to come today. I got all the way to Woodshop before Mr. Jenkins reminded me." Heckham glanced in the folder. "You have Woodshop first period." I'll have to put this into my report to Officer Wright. I warned you that I would." Tyler shrugged his shoulders, trying to seem like he didn't care, but he did. "Should I also add insolence?" "It doesn't matter what I think, so do whatever the fuck you want." "Tyler," his mom said, "watch your language." "And have a seat," Heckham said. Tyler did as he was told, well aware that Heckham would love to bury him in the progress report to Tyler's probation officer. Tyler took a deep breath and said, "I'm sorry I'm late, but I did forget that I had this appointment." "That's a convenient excuse." Not about to take the doctor's bait, Tyler sat quietly. "We've talked about this, Tyler. Making excuses is one of the roadblocks to your recovery." "I thought I was recovered. Why else would they let me out?" "Your rehabilitation is ongoing. We're to ensure you never do to anyone else what you did to that boy." Tyler wondered if a high school junior Donnie's size should be considered a boy, but he kept the question to himself. "Not taking responsibility for your actions. That's been an issue for you, hasn't it?" Tyler felt his mother stare and nodded. "Only by taking responsibility for the wrongs you have committed can you begin to respect yourself. And only then will others be able to respect you." "I'm trying. If I screw up, I try to admit it." He turned to his mom. "Right?" "Well, for the stuff around the house you do, like when you forget to take out the trash or don't clean up after Lucas." She turned to Heckham. "That's our blind Labrador. Tyler's very good with him." "But that's not what we're talking about, Tyler, and you know it." Heckham said. I'm not admitting to something I didn't do. I just forgot. Tyler? Heckham began. Okay, I was talking to a girl. I'm sorry. Happy? A girl? His mother asked. Not that Samantha. No, Tyler said way too quickly. His mom was silent for a moment. She looked at him and said, What did we do wrong, Tyler? Your dad and I did our best to raise you right. How did you get like this? Before she became hysterical and started to cry, Tyler said, Nothing. You guys did nothing wrong. Then he looked at Heckham and added, Neither did I. Heckham cleared his throat. Then why were you arrested? Why did the judge sentence you to 3 years in juvenile detention? Because no one believed me. Is it so hard to believe that I'm telling the truth? That I didn't do anything? Heckham shook his head. The facts are the reason why no one believes you. You were found covered in his blood. I was trying to help him. After the damage you'd done. Tyler tried to remain calm, trying not to think about every humiliating experience in juvie. You can't even consider that maybe Donnie fell down? He looked at Heckham and then his mom. He did have epilepsy. The doctor pointed out that the tests proved Donnie didn't suffer a seizure that day. Then why did he have a history of beating you up and teasing you? Well, maybe the test was wrong. You ever think of that? What he did have was a history of beating you up and teasing you. Tyler shook his head. He wasn't going to convince Heckham or anyone else, even his mom. Only Tyler and Sam knew that he hadn't hurt Donnie. Only Sam knew what had happened before Tyler arrived. Tyler had been on his way home from elementary school when he heard the scream coming from the alley. The second scream he'd recognized as Sam's. He'd run full speed toward the sound of her cry. He'd never told anyone that part of the story, and he wasn't about to now. Heckham wouldn't have believed him anyway, and he couldn't bring up Sam in front of his mom, who always said there was something wicked about that little girl, His mom was right, but she didn't know the whole story. The doctor asked Tyler's mom some questions, leaving Tyler to his memories. He remembered racing into the alley, his heart thudding against his chest, seeing Donnie on his back flopping around like a fish. In Donnie's clenched fist was the cherry donut Tyler had given Sam earlier in the day. It was smashed just like the cupcakes in her pink box. Hearing his name, Tyler snapped back to the present, realized Heckham was asking him something. His mother started speaking when he interrupted her. Tyler told the doctor he didn't feel well. I need to go to the bathroom. Heckham excused him with a wave of his wrinkled hand. Make it quick. The memory replayed as Tyler left the building and jogged past the bathrooms. Sam had been standing over Donnie, her shirt ripped, her cheek an angry red, a palm print still visible. Donnie's face was red, too. His blonde hair was red. The concrete was red. Donnie's eyes were wide, staring at Tyler. Donnie was scared, his expression begging for help as he raised his own head off the ground and smashed it into the concrete with a sickening thud, blood spraying everywhere. Without a word, he brought up his head again and smashed it back down, over and over, again and again. Sam just sat off to the side with her eyes closed. Tyler's jog turned into a sprint, the woodshop building still 50 yards away. He hoped he was overreacting, that Sam wasn't doing it again. He was probably just imagining things. But if he wasn't, this time he would do the smart thing and take Sam away. He wouldn't listen to her cry while he tried to make Donnie stop bashing his brain into the ground. Running faster, the distance closing, Tyler's heartbeat sounded like the thud, thud, thud of Donnie's skull. He remembered how Sam stood and watched Tyler try to restrain Donnie from hurting himself even more. He tried to kiss me, Sam had cried. He tried to kiss me and touch me. Don't tell my dad, Tyler, please. He'll say it was my fault. Now only 10 feet from the woodshop, Tyler heard the scream of machinery. That was not unusual, but Tyler still hesitated to open the door. He gathered his courage and entered the building. Most of the students were bunched together in the far corner, staring at their feet or the back of the person in front of them, their hands clasped over their ears. Hector was the closest of the 3 boys who were not lucky enough to be part of the herd. He stood in front of the planer, both of his pinky fingers on the floor, looking like bloody sausages covered in sawdust. His face twisted in a horrified grimace, but he just stood there, letting the whirling blade tear through his fingers a millimeter at a time. Kent was on the machine to Hector's left. He kept feeding his fist into the grinder, a slow, soggy push. Tyler spotted Bradley over the ripsaw. He was on his knees in front of the massive blade that was spinning, whirring, inching closer. Bradley looked at Tyler with his wild eyes as he pumped his groin into the spinning saw, chunks of meat and cloth and blood spraying everywhere. Jenkins was overseeing it all, shaking in the corner while his favorite pupils mutilated themselves. Sam was sitting behind Jenkins' desk. Tyler ran over to her, pleaded for her to stop. She told him to leave, her voice cold and calm, nothing like it had been with Donnie. "Why, Sam?" Tyler asked. "Why?" "They were going to hurt you." It took Tyler a moment to find his voice. "You have to stop. I can't let you take the blame again. Plus," she motioned toward the other students, all the eyewitnesses she let live, "it's too late for that. Now go." Tyler knew she was right, that there'd be no way out of this incident. But he wasn't ready to leave her. While Hector took off his remaining fingers, the grinder polished Kent's forearm, and Bradley completed his evisceration, Tyler took the wooden cylinder from his pocket and placed it on the desk. "Happy birthday, Sam." Sam smiled, stood up from her desk, and kissed Tyler on his cheek. A few of the other students ran from the building. Sam told Tyler, "Go." Tyler could only think of the kiss, the kind words, not caring of the carnage surrounding them. "I'll stay." "No, you won't. I need you to leave. The cops are going to show, and I don't know if I'm ready to let them take me. You can't be here for that." Tyler tried to stay, but Sam forced his feet towards the door. Her control over his body weakened when Tyler stepped outside. He jammed his foot in the doorway and tried to call Sam's name, but nothing came out. All he could do was watch as Sam focused her attention on Mr. Jenkins, who'd just started the jigsaw.